This is my lucky home. And let me show you the cabinet where I keep my pots, food containers, and baking trays. Behind these three doors, I keep all my pots and cutting boards. And also I have some food containers, but I don't keep them here. I store them in a separate drawer unit. Behind these other two doors, I keep my baking trays and some small kitchen appliances that I honestly don't use. In fact, one of them is broken, and I barely use the other one. As you can see, everything is completely disorganized. Everything is piled on the top of everything else. I want to have all my baking trays together. I also have my food containers here, but I don't have enough space anymore. There is simply nowhere else to put anything. And these trays are still sitting around because I don't know where to put them. What I really want is to keep everything together by category. I want my food containers together, my baking trays together, and my pots together. Right now, everything is mixed up and completely disorganized. So come along with me as I clean and organize this area of my kitchen. Let's get started.
The Lucky Home, Cleaning and Organization.
I'm going to put everything I take out on my dining room table. My first rule when organizing a space is taking everything out. I need to remove everything from all the areas I'm going to organize so I can actually see how much I have. Here I'm showing you some of the things I'm taking out of this area. Things that don't belong here anymore and things that I need to organize once and for all. I actually found this I had completely forgotten I owned. And that's one of the problems with having a cluttered and disorganized space. When everything is piled up, you tend to use whatever is easiest to reach. And I don't want to live that way. I want to actually use the things I already know own. And I have some beautiful baking trays that I haven't used in months. And that's not fair. I don't think it's fair to stop using things simply because they are buried under clutter. I want to be able to use them, reach them, and actually enjoy using them. So I'm taking everything out of this cabinet so you can see exactly what I have. Then I'm going to decide what stays and what goes, and organize everything in a way that makes sense. I'm really happy to finally deep clean and organize this part of my kitchen because my goal is to eventually clean and organize the entire kitchen. But as you know, that's a big project. There is no way I could deep clean my entire kitchen in one day because there are simply too many things to deal with. So my advice is don't try to do everything at once. This drawer chutney is where I keep all my food containers. And honestly, the lids are who knows where. They are all inside in that cabinet, but everything is loose and mixed together. There are actually two ways you can organize your food containers. The first option is to nest them inside each other, putting the smaller containers inside the larger ones, and then keep all the lids together on one side. That way, whenever you need a container, you just look for the right lid. But honestly, I don't like this method. I've tried it before and end up wasting too much time looking for the right lid. And because I don't want to waste time doing that, I'm going to store each container with its own lid. Now I'm cleaning the cabinet with some dish soap and a little sponge, both inside and outside. I decided to take advantage of the opportunity and give them the entire cabinet a deep cleaning. I almost forgot to take out my pots and I can't skip this step, so I'm removing them one by one to keep the cabinet completely empty while I clean. I'm using these little pieces of cardboard. I use them because when you slide a heavy pot across the surface, it can leave visible marks and even damage the white melamine finish of the cabinet. And I definitely don't want to damage it. So I'm using these little green pieces of cardboard that I actually cut from a cereal box. Up here, I have all my pots. I started blowing some air on the shelves so they can I started blowing some air on the shelves so they could dry faster. Over here I have my frying pans and pots, and that's when I realized that some of my frying pans are honestly in terrible conditions. They are so old and damaged, and they really don't belong in my kitchen anymore. A few weeks ago, I said I was going to get rid of them, but somehow I always end up keeping them. So this time I'm finally letting them go. I don't like them anymore and they are really old. Look at them, they are in terrible shape. And this made me think about something. What do you want to see every day? What do you actually want to use? And what makes you feel good when you use it? Keep those things because, after all, you are the one who is going to use them. You should be able to enjoy the things that you have and feel satisfied when you use them. So I'm keeping what I truly want and letting go what I no longer need or use. I even found a brand new cutting board that I had barely used. Well, that's I'm going to change. I'm finally going to use it. Now I'm showing you everything I have on my dining room table. Look at this. That table is completely covered with everything I took out from those white cabinets. And now I have to be completely honest with myself and decide what stays and what goes. What am I actually using? And what do I know I am never going to use? For example, I have an air fryer that I don't use and a blender that is broken, but I've been keeping it anyway. Now I'm putting the lid on each food container one by one. And now this method will take up more space. And I don't want to wait even a few seconds looking for the right lid. I've already experienced that frustration and I want everything to be easy to find and easy to use. I know I need more space to store my containers this way, but that's okay. I'm choosing this method because I've already tried the first option and it simply didn't work for me. Now I'm going to through everything carefully, deciding which containers are still good enough to keep and which ones are too old, damaged, or simply no longer useful. Now I'm starting to sort everything into categories. I'm putting all the baking trays together, and then I'm separating the trays I use specifically for baking. And also found electric baking dish, some plastic items, and lids that I couldn't find containers for, and my vegetable stainer. I'm also found some things that need to be thrown away and some things that I'm going to keep but that don't belong in this area, and other items that I need to move to a different part of my home. I'm putting the wrapping paper all the way in the back, and now I'm going to organize my food containers. This was almost like putting together a puzzle because I wanted to make the most of everything inch of space inside this cabinet. These are the two lids that I didn't fit in the white drawer unit. I also found a completely new clay cooking pot. It's beautiful and I've never even used it. Well, I think it's finally time to start using it. To project a cabinet, I put down some clear plastic and film and a piece of white cardboard. I'm doing this because I don't want the pots to scratch or damage the surface every time I pull them out. I also added some tape later to make sure everything stayed firmly in place. I hadn't added it yet at this point in the video, but I reinforced it afterward. And that's it for this section, my cutting boards and my pots. For the tray section, I used some wine bottles as dividers to help separate items and keep everything standing upright. I put the electric baking dish in one corner and I placed a metal tray between the wine bottles. I think storing baking trays vertically is a great way to save space, but they need something sturdy to keep them standing. In this case, I use this heavy glass baking dish as a support. I have some trays that I want to use regularly. Most of them are plastic, and so I'm keeping them homeward visible and easy to reach. That way I can grab them whenever I need them instead of having move everything around. My vegetable strainer is going to the top shelf. On the bottom shelf, I'm going to keep the trays that I use specifically for baking. I also put my new clay cooking pot all the way in the back. And I have a couple of reusable food bags that I use for carrying food, so I'm keeping them here for whenever I need them. And those two extra lids that didn't fit in the food container drawer, I'm going to all the way in the back where they can stay neatly organized without taking up too much space. And this is the final result. I am so happy with the result. It's amazing to see another real transformation in my home. This is what I love about cleaning and organizing. Sometimes you don't need to change your entire home. You can simply choose one small area, one zone, or even more micro zone and start there. This is the Lucky Home Cleaning and Organization. Subscribe if you want to see more real transformations, one zone and micro zone at a time. For me, it's all about creating that feeling of control over my belongings and making sure that the things I choose to keep actually I have a place in my life. Now look at the before and after. Cleaning and organization are essentials for creating a home that feels peaceful and calm. Because when you bring order to your physical spaces, you can also create a greater sense of clarity and calm in your mind. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next transformation.